way it goes. Just the way it goes. Degrees.
Well, I guess we're gonna skip the intro this week because I got caught a little off guard. It's been a busy day, but I am your boy Svo. College football fans, with me is my partner Brewhan Luke. We are back to talk college football. We got an action-packed week, and we want to get right into it. Luke, how are you, buddy?
Hey, man, I'm good. I'm still recovering from the nice, fun, long weekend.
Well, that's a perfect segue, my friend. So let's talk. Let's talk Luke's visit to Oregon.
There we go. Look at that beautiful stadium, that nice looking field, the scoreboard, the blackout game. It was a great time. Nice long 4-day weekend. I'll just focus on the actual college football game experience and everything there because it was a long, action-packed weekend where I did a whole bunch of different things as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first time at Autzen Stadium. I've been to Eugene a few times, never seen the Ducks at Autzen Stadium. Loudest crowd I've ever seen, I've ever been a part of in my entire life. That place was off the chain. It was the 5th largest crowd in the history of Autzen Stadium there. People were out for the USC game. Jam-packed, celebrities all over the place. Marcus Mariota was in town. Will Ferrell was there for USC.
Yeah.
There's a few other people there. Just got to do the full experience. That right there is actually where our seats were. Like you move in off the camera, and that's actually where I was sitting. That was our view. So we had outstanding seats as well.
The pictures are dope. We got they're not
that didn't work.
They're not going to allow the video. That's okay.
It's all right.
It's trial and error, man. This is our first time, like our first ever like solo pod by ourselves. Like Yumper is the genius on my show, and you got the boys in the 108 that takes care of it. So I'm still learning the ins and outs. Let's get back to game balls and lane balls on the screen, but I want to hear more about your actual trip. Like, what were the highs? What were the lows?
Man, gosh, I would say like just getting to the stadium and experiencing the tailgate and the crowd and the atmosphere. Everybody is so nice and friendly everywhere you go. Outgoing people, talkative. Couple fans wanted to just talk the White Sox and baseball because they knew I was from Chicago. I'm so
sorry that you had to deal with that.
Well, but it was funny because this one guy, I think his name was Bob. We'll call him Bob. He was an older guy.
Okay.
And we were at the tailgate, and all of a sudden we started talking baseball, and he found out I was a White Sox fan. He just taps me, and he goes, "Hey, I'm going to say your name right now. I want to hear your thoughts." And he came in close. He just goes, "Hey, Minnie Minoso." And like my eyes lit up. I was like, "Oh my God, that's one of my all-time favorite people."
Okay.
He goes, "Wow, you reacted like I did not expect that." Like, so very knowledgeable sports fans.
I mean, here's the deal, Luke. We can be honest with each other. Does the White Sox team frustrate the piss out of me? Not even like the team, yes, but like, does the organization frustrate the piss out of me? Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Do I still love them? Yeah, I do.
Yep.
And I can't help it. So when people say, "Oh, White Sox baseball," I'm like, "Fuck yeah, let's talk White Sox baseball." Like, I want to talk about something that I love. This is why, like, I talk about college football with you.
That's right. So I mean, I guess at the tailgate, we were sitting there at the tailgate, and my buddy taps me on the shoulder, and there's a well-known former Oregon Duck athlete, cross country, track and field athlete, right next to us, like right next to us.
Okay.
I was like, nah, that can't be him. I'm like, I guess, yeah, he's probably retired, 14-time All-American, Olympic silver medalist in the 10,000, Olympic bronze medalist in the marathon for both for Team USA, several-time American record holder, also I don't know if he's a one-time or a two-time Chicago Marathon champion.
Wow.
Galen Rupp was right next to us. He was there with some buddies, some college buddies. I thought about going and bothering him for a picture, but I was like, yeah. And I got kind of convinced by my buddy Joe. He said, just let him do his thing. I'm like, man, I'm never going to see this guy in my life again, but all right.
No, I get it. So like when we were in Tallahassee, we walked there. They had like a little, I don't know, like a little town set up in Tallahassee, and they had like a live broadcast. And Marvin Jones was doing a live broadcast, and then he was talking with everybody afterwards. And I was like, I want to go say hi. Marvin Jones is like one of my fucking favorite Noles of all time.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, just let the dude do his thing, man. Like he just worked. But that's cool, man. I'm really happy for you, dude. I'm really anytime you want to come on, we'll talk Illini football. I'm really happy that you got to experience it, man. I would like going to a game at Autzen is a bucket list thing for me. Like I would like to do that.
Yeah, I mean, they like to say that they have the loudest fans, and that's the loudest stadium I think I've ever been in.
I think like if I have to rank bucket list, like I want to see a game in Death Valley, like Baton Rouge at night.
Yep, a night game at LSU.
That's really, really high on my list. I've got to see a game at Notre Dame. That was a cool experience, no matter how Dougie feels about Notre Dame. Because I don't care for them either, but that's awesome, man. I'm really, really pumped for you. You've been talking about this all season. We've been going back and forth about it, and I'm glad that you finally got to do it.
Yeah, it was just a lot of fun. Like I said, the tailgate was sponsored by Hop Valley, which is a local Eugene brewery, and they are they're the official like beer of the University of Oregon and the Oregon Ducks. Like they sell their beer in the stadium. It's like the Goose Island of Eugene in a sense.
I saw the dope can that you sent me a picture of the can with the Oregon logo. I think it was Oregon logo.
It was a green can. I don't know if it had. Oh, you know what? It might have been this koozie.
Oh, maybe.
That's probably what you saw is the koozie with the Hop Valley on the other side. But no, they have a lot of good can designs also. They do a really good job. Last time I was there, we went to the brewery. We did not go to that one this particular time, but almost all the beers that I drank that weekend in Eugene were Hop Valley beers. I believe they sell Hop Valley like in the local liquor stores here, so I think I'm going to have to go and get that on the weekends now on game day. During Ducks games.
I love
it. So yeah, I don't know. It was a great. I mean, having the blackout under the lights, and then you had the Duck taking the field on a motorcycle, and just having the team rally behind the Duck, and then. They play a song called "Home" by Matt Kearney. It's an Oregon song about how Eugene and Oregon is home.
Okay,
it's electric. They played that. They played that at the end of the first quarter, so that was cool to see live. Shout at the start of the fourth quarter was unbelievable. Which that was the other video which we were not able to pull up, which is fine.
Yeah.
That was special, and just to take it to USC feels so damn good. Like the score is very deceiving. People don't realize it was 36-14 at the start of the fourth quarter, and they kind of called off the Dogs and just started running it down their throat even more with a dinged up Bucky Irving and a dinged up Jackson Powers Johnson at center. They're both healthy. They both practiced today. They're going to be ready for Arizona State. And the other side of it is like people are saying, well, Oregon only put up 36 against that terrible USC defense, but like you saw the first 2 touchdowns they scored. There was a 77 and like an 82-yard, like a 77-yard pass and an 82-yard touchdown pass, against some awful defense, by USC. But the other part people aren't really mentioning in all this is that, okay, Oregon only scored 36 points. That was the lowest scoring game of the season for USC. They've never gone. That was the first time all year that they had gone under 30 points. So that defense to hold Caleb Williams in check. And by the way, Caleb Williams, when he's outside of the pocket, holy shit, is he impressive. He had some magical plays under pressure running outside of the pocket that
I like to hear that. I like to hear that because he's gonna be here next year. Hopefully.
Yeah, he had one.
I don't know. Hopefully, I don't know. That's a whole fucking thing.
There's the one play in the first quarter. He scrambled over to the sideline and he was running out of bounds. And then all of a sudden, there was a receiver like 3 yards in front of him. He just threw it over the side of his head for a 5-yard gain. It's like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
So
they called up the dogs a little bit. You got some backups in there. The score kind of wasn't very reflective of what the actual game was.
Mm-hmm.
That's good, man. So overall, like out of all the sporting events you've ever been to in your life, how would you rank seeing your favorite college football team live for the first time?
Well, so that was my third time seeing them. First time in Autzen.
Okay.
I've seen them. I've seen them
in Autzen. I'm sorry.
It was special. The blackout and against USC, the whole vibe, the atmosphere. I think it was the best football game I've ever gone to. I'll leave it at that because I've been at some really special baseball games, and I've been to a Stanley Cup game, that Blackhawks triple overtime game in the game 1 of the Stanley Cup. I was fortunate to be at that as well.
Okay.
But football-wise, it's by far the best football game I've ever gotten to go to. I mean, the Rose Bowl was great, but they lost that game when I went. They lost to Ohio State. Pac-12 championship game in Vegas was amazing, but they lost.
Yeah.
They pulled off a very easy, convincing win against USC under the lights at Autzen Stadium. Hanging out with my buddy Joe all weekend. Shout out to him. He was a very, very gracious host and did a good job of being a host/tourist. We went and did a whole bunch of other activities. I got to go see the whole new Hayward Field track venue. That was like a mecca. I've never seen anything like that before. And next time I go out there to visit, it will be for a track meet, probably the Olympic trials or the USA Championships. But that's not college football. So we won't go down the whole 9 yards. But
that's okay. That's okay. That's super cool, man. That's awesome. I'm glad that you got that experience. Let's get into game balls and lane balls, Luke.
Yeah,
I'm going to let you go first. Again, this is kind of like this was your idea for this concept. So let's get into your game balls and lane balls. So I got them pulled up right here. I know you were asking for that picture. So Luke, take it away.
Okay, so on the left of the game ball is Blake Corum. He got absolutely rocked, I believe, in the first quarter of that game. It was really early. Might have been the second quarter. And he came off the field, was on the sideline, and, got a little patched up. And in the second quarter, Michigan didn't throw one single pass, and they relied on the running game with Blake Corum leading the way with that just dripping down his face. Like, that was badass. Like, the fact that they didn't utilize J.J. McCarthy at all, and he's looking like that and still playing the game, and just they're shoving it down their throat, just running the ball all third and fourth quarter. The lane ball, Drew Aller, holy cow, you stink. Like, he's bad. That was the first time, like, I saw him against Ohio State. I'm like, okay, Ohio State's tough. But looking at him, and I thought he would get better as the season progressed, along with a strong O-line and a top 5 pick in the NFL draft protecting him in Fashanu. He's terrible. Like, he's not the guy. It's a 5-star recruit out of high school. He doesn't have it, man. He's going to have a hard time in the Big Ten, especially when Oregon, Washington, USC come playing next year, and UCLA.
I mean, I'm not going to say that yet, Luke. I'm not going to say that yet. He has played 8 games at Penn State. 8 games. He is essentially a freshman playing this. He's a redshirt freshman. He's a redshirt freshman, right? Like, Let's see if James Franklin can develop a quarterback.
I mean, so far he's not developing a quarterback who's been there for a year already. It's not like he's a true freshman. Like maybe there's a reason why he didn't start as a true freshman and had Sean Clifford starting in front of him, because when they got him there on campus, they're like, this guy might not be that good.
I don't know how to say this politely, Luke, but fuck off. And this is not me. This is like, I'm not a Penn State defender, definitely not. But it's gonna take me into my game balls and lane balls real quick.
All right, go ahead.
Yep. All right. I got two game balls and I got a game ball and a lane ball. First off, the game ball is gonna go to Jordan Travis, right? Obviously, we knew that it was gonna be a Florida State thing because it was a rivalry week for me.
Yep.
Jordan Travis is the first quarterback at Florida State to go 3-0 against Miami. Jordan Travis wanted to switch to wide receiver after his first year here when he was a backup, and Mike Norvell talked him out of it. He was not that dude, and he was developed. And that is my point. We do not know what we have in Drew yet. He is a 5-star blue chip quarterback. He was Mr. Football in 2021 in the state of Ohio.
Yeah.
Let's look at the former Mr. Football in the state of Ohio. And let's go from let's just go through a couple of these, okay?
I know where you're going with this, so go ahead.
We got a guy, his name is Joey Burrow.
Yeah.
Right? Mr. Football in the state of Ohio. Had to leave Ohio State to go to LSU to have success. Does his thing. Yeah, we also have Mitch Trubisky as Mr. Football in the state of Ohio, but Mitch had a good 2 years in Wilmington, North Carolina. Maurice Clarett, say what you want, absolutely fucking fantastic football player at Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Charles Woodson, right? You don't just win Mr. Football because you're an average football player. I'm going to give the guy another offseason and another year running the offense as QB1 before I'm ready to write him off as a bust. But anyways, let's get back to Jordan Travis as my game ball of the week. Like I said, 3-0 against Miami for the first time like in Florida State history. That is our biggest rival, Luke. Like, yep. Miami is a big deal. Yeah, we struggled a little bit, but Mike Norvell is a second half coach. He adjusted, and Jordan Travis is going to go out as one of the best quarterbacks in Florida State history, and that includes Chris Weinke, Charlie Ward, Jameis Winston. This is that guy, and I cannot tell you how much I love him and how much he means to this program, because this program was on the verge of being irrelevant after Willie Taggart and Jimbo Fisher, who is my fucking lame ball. He is my lame ball because he is no longer the head football coach in College Station. He received $114 million for a record that wasn't as good as Kevin Sumlin's. He complained about the facilities in Tallahassee. He complained about the things that were available to him in Tallahassee. And he had all that old school oil money in College Station at Texas A&M, and he did nothing. And he rode the coattails of a generational quarterback into $114 million. Now, you do you get your money however you want, right? I don't give a shit. But know that you would not have that paycheck if it wasn't for Jameis fucking Winston and Dalvin fucking Cook. You, Jimbo Fisher, are my lame ball of the week. And fuck you. I'm still not over it yet.
I am so excited for all these Texas A&M football players to enter the transfer portal.
Oh, that portal is going to be lit.
Dan Lanning is going to be right there saying, hey, come on down. Hey, come on down.
And
we'll take care of you.
So you are not wrong. It's going to be Dan Lanning. It's going to be Mike Norvell, who is already a fantastic portal recruiter. And Lanning is as well. Those guys are going to be eating them up. I love it. Jimbo's recruited well. Like, he is recruited well in Texas A&M, but he has not fucking coached these guys. He has not developed a quarterback, and that program is about to be set back significantly.
And he got the program handed to him from Bobby Bowden. Like, he was Bobby Bowden's guy, right? And then He was
So
the coach.
Jimbo came in as an offensive coordinator after being
Yeah.
at LSU with the promise that when Bobby stepped down,
Yes.
he would take over. And Bobby, they call the last couple of years of Bobby Bowden's, like, they call it the dark time, where we had Drew Weatherford and Chris Ricks and Xavier Lee and quarterbacks that just did nothing after we had years of wanky and like good quarterback play. It was a really dark time for me. I don't like to talk about it. But he came in and he recruited Jameis out of Bessemer, Alabama, and after Jameis, he just failed to develop quarterbacks, and he used the facilities as a thing. And he did some great things in Tallahassee, man. And eventually there will be a time where I'm ready to close the book and like welcome Jimbo back. But that time is not now. It's not yet.
I don't think you welcome him back. I mean, yeah, he won a national championship.
No, he won a natty and he brought us back to relevance. Like,
yeah.
And there will be a time. It's just not yet.
Yeah, he's got $76 million to do whatever the fuck he wants for the next however many years. He doesn't.
He's going to coach again, and I'm going to tell you where he's going to coach.
Okay. I don't think it's going to be next year. But go ahead.
He's going to be the head coach at some point before he retires in West Virginia at WVU at West Virginia.
What's the connection there?
He's a West Virginia kid. Like he grew up. Like he has always said in every interview that he would like to coach for West Virginia before it's all said and done. And now, because Texas A&M is paying him all this money for the next, 7-8 years?
Yep.
West Virginia can go in and pay him a very, very minimal amount for him to come in and coach this program.
Yeah, I think he takes at least a year off.
I think he has to.
Like he could sit around and do nothing for the next 8 to 10 years, but he's a college football coach. He'll sit down for like 1 year and say, I want back in. I miss it. And he'll start trying to get his name out there for jobs. Maybe it's the West Virginia job if Neil Brown flops. I don't know. But did you see the other part of this aspect that they, at halftime of the game that Jimbo was currently coaching, they had the big oil rig 12th man donors come up with the giant $160 million paycheck that they donated to the school at halftime of this game that Jimbo Fisher was still the head coach of Texas A&M for at the time. Meanwhile, they had already decided at the Board of Regents meeting on Thursday that he was going to get fired, but not tell him until after the game. So that was a check to pay for Jimbo Fisher's buyout.
Good Lord.
Presented on the field while he's still coaching.
So I want to go over a list here, but there are it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Power 5 teams that are paying a combined $146 million in buyouts since 2022.
Yeah,
you have Brian Harsin from Auburn, Scott Frost, Jeff Collins, Paul Christ, Carl Durrell, Herm Edwards, and Zach Arnett. $146 million in buyout money.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot of dough. Buyouts can change depending on certain circumstances, but Texas A&M will owe Fisher $19.2 million within the next 60 days and then pay him $7.2 million annually.
Yeah,
through 2031.
I forgot what the term was for if a coach goes and gets hired somewhere else after they get bought out for getting fired. Like there's a clause in their contract where they take a certain amount of money off for a year. Like it's a very, very common clause. I don't remember the name or the term of it, but that was not in Jimbo's contract. They owe him all of it. He could go be a head coach somewhere else tomorrow, make all of that contract, and they don't take anything off of Texas A&M's contract.
But like I'm here for it all, right? Like you complained about lack of money, lack of facilities, lack of resources in Tallahassee, and you had all of them at College Station, and you did this. So that's it. All right, Luke, let's get into the meat and potatoes, as we call it. What do we got here? We already went through this. Let's get into our top 25. We're using the AP because the college football playoff rankings come out in about
5 or so minutes. The basketball game is still on.
Yep.
This is the dumbest thing ever, having them announce them live in between games of the show. Just be normal and do it before the game, or do it with Maction and do it like pregame building up into Maction on a Tuesday night. Why do you have to do this whole thing to get college basketball ratings? Nobody gives a fuck about college basketball in November.
Absolutely.
So
coming in at 25, we have Liberty. Liberty had a 38-10 win over Old Dominion. They play UMass next week at noon. No one gives a shit about Liberty. Sorry.
I give a shit about Liberty. We could talk about that a little bit later when we get into the coaching carousel.
Okay. All right.
We could
like it.
We could talk about Liberty and Jamie Chadwell and all of that, because he gets paid a lot of money to be the head coach at Liberty.
Sure. Absolutely. Coming in at 24, we have the Oklahoma State Cowboys. They took a fucking beating from UCF, 45-3. I am surprised that they are still in the top 25. Their quarterback, Bauman, was 19 for 36, 225 yards, and 3 interceptions. They took a beating.
Yeah, that was disappointing. I was really hyping them up the last couple of weeks about being a team that could win the Big 12, and they got their asses beat by Central Florida, and Ollie Gordon only ran for like 25 yards.
12 carries and 25 yards.
Did he get injured? Like, I didn't see that game. I was out and about on Saturday. I was a little busy.
Did you have something going on?
Yeah, I was, doing that thing in Eugene.
I don't know if anybody from work is listening, but I was definitely watching the Florida State game on my phone while I was at work because it was Miami.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming in at 23, we have the Kansas State Wildcats. They had a 59-25 win over the Baylor Bears. Baylor defense can't be beat except for by K-State, is what they say.
Baylor's terrible.
Baylor sucks. Baylor is 3-7 and 2-5 in the conference.
I'm getting more and more convinced by the games and as the years go by that Dave Aranda was one of the names that was in the mix to get the Oregon job, and they went with Dan Lanning. Man, good choice.
It was a pretty good choice. It looks like 59-25 K-State.
Still in the mix for the Big 12 championship game. That could lead, they could have like a 5-way tie for who goes into the Big 12 championship game when it's all said and done. These next 2 weeks of the Big 12 are going to be insane.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up in the AP poll, we have the North Carolina Tar Heels. They squeaked out a win in double overtime against Duke, 47-45. Drake May threw for a lot of yards, but looked pretty average, man. 28-43, 342 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. And still playing against a backup Duke quarterback because Riley Leonard is still not playing.
Yeah, I think Riley Leonard's season is going to be done, and
it's the smart thing to do, man. You got to give props to Mike Elko for not risking this kid's future.
Yeah.
Right? Like, hey, man, I want you to play, I want to win, but not at the expense of what you're doing. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, you mentioned Mike Elko.
I know, coaching carousel.
We got to talk about him later on too.
I know we do. Man, it's gonna I'll be happy when he leaves Duke, but what a good dude.
Yeah, I'll talk about it. I'll save my thoughts on that.
Okay.
He had one of the better replies to these questions than some other people. So we'll see.
Yeah, there was some interesting conversation. Coming in next, we have the Tennessee Vols. They took a pretty decent beating from the Missouri Tigers. Our boy Brian, Magnificent Stands, Mizzou Tigers.
That's right.
Yeah, it was 36-7. Milton, 267 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. They are now 7-3 and 3-3 in the conference, and they have a game this week, if I'm not mistaken, against Georgia? Are they playing Georgia this week?
It might be Georgia week. That
I think
sounds.
it's Georgia. Yeah, it's Georgia week at 2:30 on CBS. I fucking love the SEC on CBS. It reminds me of my childhood, and I am here for it.
Are you going to miss it when it becomes a Big Ten on CBS?
I will miss it, but yeah.
It's going to be weird if it's the same musical theme and it's Big Ten games now instead of SEC.
I know, right?
Are they going to change the music?
It's like when they brought the NBC or the NBA on NBC music over to ABC, and it just wasn't the same.
I think they got to change the theme song.
I think so too. My friend. Let's see. What do we have next? Oh, we had a bye week this week. Dougie Fresh's favorite football team, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, they did not lose this week.
They did not lose
because they had a bye. They have Wake Forest on Saturday at 2:30. So the mid-off against Snuggy Hill and Wake Forest.
All right, yeah. There we go.
Now we get into the Arizona Wildcats, who snuck out a W against Luke's favorite Pac-12 team, the Colorado Buffaloes, 34-31. Tyler Loop hit a field goal as time expired to make sure Arizona did not lose. Yeah, like who knew Arizona would be in the top 25?
They made that quarterback change to Fafita.
Yeah.
Fafita. They made that change at quarterback about halfway through the season and never looked back.
21 for 35, 214 yards and 2 touchdowns for Fafita against Shedeur Sanders. 22 for 35 with 262 yards and 2 touchdowns. But Deion's Louis Vuitton luggage on defense did not travel for this game.
Yeah, Arizona showed that the one thing I got out of it is, like most teams, pretty standard. It's tough to win on the road, especially in a Power 5 conference.
Yeah.
Every week it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, especially if you're like Arizona's doing very good, but they aren't taking a jump to like the Oregon-Washington level. Not yet, at least. Maybe they will. Because going to the Big 12 is going to be huge for them. They're going to be a factor in the Big 12, especially with this Fafita kid.
Fafita. Say it again, Luke.
Fafita.
All right. Who do we have coming in next, Luke? We have the...
Yes. I love it.
We have James Madison. Why did that skip there? Sorry. Give me a second here, my friends. James Madison had a 44-6 beat down. They beat the piss out of UConn. James Madison's undefeated right now.
Yeah, so they're 10-0. They will not be in the college football playoff rankings because they are still not bowl eligible by the NCAA stupid rules, which they appealed for a second time, and I believe that hearing comes through this week. Busy week because you had a big Pac-12 hearing that went down just a couple hours ago. And then the James Madison hearing, and then the Jim Harbaugh appeal also this week.
Oh, Jim Harbaugh, my fucking boy.
Yeah, I love Jim.
Cheater, where'd you meet her?
But James Madison should be bowl eligible. They should be in the New Year's 6 group of 5 conversation. But because the NCAA has really stupid rules saying otherwise, they currently are not. So when we get the playoff rankings here in just a few minutes, they will not be in there. Maybe next week they will be. They should be. They deserve to be. They're 10-0.
They are 10-0.
They're not even eligible. They're not even eligible for the Sun Belt Conference Championship game by these rules.
Friends, is why we need a 12-team college football playoff.
Well, they would, by the rules, still, they wouldn't be eligible for it.
Right. I know the rules are stupid, but we still need a playoff with more teams because who knows, right? Except for Oregon. They don't deserve to be in it.
Oh, get out of here.
All right. Next up, we have the Tulane Green Wave. They snuck out a win over Tulsa 24-22. I don't think we need to spend too much time on the Green Wave, Luke.
Michael Pratt would look really nice at Oregon next year. I'll just say that.
All right. All right. Luke's picking players out of the portal already.
Already doing it. Yeah, you're damn right I am.
We have the Utah Utes coming in at number 18. They lost to Washington 35-28, but it was a pretty respectable loss. So they stay in the top 20.
They brought
7-3, 4-3 in the conference though. So
Yeah. I was watching that game. They had the lead a few times. They had a chance to pull off a win and just didn't have enough. Every team's been playing Washington close. We'll get to Washington in a little bit, but Utah's a better team than their record shows. They got it. They're in the Pac-12. They're the best conference in the NCAAs this year. So
this year, yes, sir.
Yeah.
And then we have the LSU Tigers. How hurt
Jaden Daniels? Jaden Daniels is fucking awesome.
He's insane.
There's people that are making a push to say that he should be winning the Heisman and not Bo. We'll see. We got a few games to play still.
They had 702 yards of offense against the Florida Gators.
Yeah, he passed for over 300 and ran for over 200.
350 yards passing and 200 yards rushing. Just absolutely dominant. And so 372 yard passing, 3 touchdowns, 234 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. I'm not mad at the Jaden Daniels winning the Heisman talk.
It's justified. Every number and stat I've looked at, he belongs in New York.
I'm full on board with this. And the thing that makes me the happiest about it is that the Florida State fucking defense shut him down.
I would say that was more the Florida State offense dominated the terrible LSU defense.
He didn't have a fucking outstanding game against us.
I think that was more the offensive performance over the defense.
Luke, just fucking get the Oregon balls out of your mouth. Just get them out of your mouth and fucking just stop. Just stop. We're in a fight, Luke. Just kidding. I love you. LSU beat the piss out of Florida. Always makes me happy. They have Georgia State next in those little cupcake games that teams schedule before rivalry week.
That's a lame ball, by the way.
Yeah, whatever. It is what it is. We have North Alabama, too.
Also a lame ball.
Oklahoma, 59-20 win over West Virginia. I think we can put to bed Dylan Gabriel's Heisman. He had a great year. He had 423 yards passing and 5 touchdowns, but Oklahoma just 8-2, 5-2 in the conference. We can kind of put that to bed, I think.
They're still in the mix. It's going to be chaos in the Big 12 these next 2 weeks, and Oklahoma's right there to play for a rematch with Texas still. I don't know what the rest of the schedules all play out for. I haven't looked that far in advance yet of all those other Big 12 contenders.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of chaos in the Big 12. I'm surprised it hasn't quite fully blown up and had the chaos yet. I thought it would have happened by now.
Absolutely. Let's see. We have coming in next. We have Ole Miss.
But get them out of here.
They took a beating against Georgia, 52-17.
They're so fake. I would put Oklahoma ahead of them. Let's see what
I fucking hate Lane Kiffin.
I would put Oklahoma ahead of them. We'll see what the committee says here in a few minutes. I keep saying in a few minutes because this stupid basketball game is still on.
Basketball's not stupid. Let's not hate on it, but we're just big college football fans, Luke. Let's be positive, okay? Let's be positive. All right. We have the Penn State Nittany Lions. Go Penn State. Go Penn State. Roar, Lions, roar. Sorry, Luke. I that's a fight song that I know that's not Florida State. So it was a 24-15 loss to number 3 Michigan. We already talked about Drew. 10 for 22, 70 yards, 1 touchdown. J.J. McCarthy had a tough game, 7 for 8 for 60 yards.
I wouldn't say he had a tough game. They abandoned the passing game in the second half.
I'm kidding.
They just said fuck it.
When you have a guy just running downhill like Corum, then you don't need to fucking pass. Don't make mistakes with the ball. It's just smart football. These games are getting this game was a little bit closer for a team like Michigan than it should have been, but Penn State's defense is still pretty decent. So I'm not super mad at them.
Don't sleep on how good this Michigan defense is, because they had a hell of a performance too.
Was it that good, or was Drew Allar that bad, Luke? You can't. It can be both ways.
Yes, you can.
It can't be both ways.
You could have a really good defense showing that a 5-star recruit does not deserve the hype that he gets from week to week to say, this is the best. This is going to be the best quarterback that Penn State's had in 25 years.
According to you, he's a bust.
Fuck that. Maybe if he transfers to somewhere else to show that he can hang, because he doesn't have it at Penn State.
I'm so happy that fucking Oregon is joining the Big Ten so you can fucking get Michigan's balls out of your mouth. I fucking hate Michigan, and you know that. And I can't talk full shit about them because I like you, and I don't want to fucking hurt your feelings.
Michigan
sucks. Michigan fucking sucks.
They showed that they were the better team and that Penn State was fake.
Fuck Michigan.
What's Penn State, by the way? I don't know if I would put them at, what was that, 10?
Where are we now? Mizzou.
Oh, Missouri's ahead of them. Okay.
Yeah, no, they're at
That's
15.
Good.
They're at 15.
Oh gosh. I would maybe put Mizzou a lot higher up than 15 with these upcoming rankings.
I don't disagree with you. And Mizzou beat a good Tennessee team, and they're going to beat the brakes off of Florida this week.
Yeah, I think Mizzou belongs in the top 10.
Luke, I said this at the beginning of the season. Sunbelt Billy will not make it through to be the coach of Florida next year.
Oh, so now you're saying is he going to start the season as a coach next year?
No, he's not going to be the Florida Gators head coach next year.
I think they're going to give him another year to see if he could develop Graham Mertz for another year, because Graham Mertz has another year of eligibility. I think they're going to give him a shot.
Graham Mertz sticks around at Florida, I don't want to hear any fucking Gators fans coming at me on Twitter or X about how old Jordan Travis is, because Jordan Travis is only fucking 7 months older than Graham Mertz. So I don't want to hear any fucking Florida Gators fans coming at me talking shit about Jordan Travis. Fuck you.
Graham Mertz doesn't have a choice. He's staying. He's not an NFL caliber
He's
quarterback.
Not, but I don't want to fucking hear their bullshit. I don't want to hear it. I heard about it all week. Jordan Travis should beat Miami. He's fucking 30. He's 25 years old. Shut the fuck up. Sorry. I'm sorry. Luke, I don't mean to take it out on you, man.
Wait, Jordan Travis is 25?
Yeah, he was a redshirt. He transferred. He had a COVID year. So, yeah.
He's okay. Yeah, he's older than Bo Nix.
Be fucking careful what you say, Bo Nix. Be careful what you say, Luke.
No, because people are dogging Bo Nix for being in college forever. He's only 23 or 24 years old. He's not that old. Like Jordan you're saying that Graham Mertz and Jordan Travis.
Jordan Travis is only 23. I'm sorry.
Okay, that makes more sense. 23-year-olds.
Jordan Travis is 23.
Yeah, 23-year-olds in college football is becoming a common thing. You know why? Because colleges are paying them $2 million, $3 million, $4 million, $5 million to stick around for another year instead of going straight to the NFL when they're kind of on the fringe of being a good draft pick or not. They're getting paid money.
Which they should be. They should be getting paid dough. These universities make billions of dollars.
So there shouldn't be any, this guy's so old hype. That's a lame ball right there. Like
Chris Weinke won me a fucking national championship at 27 years old, Luke.
That's a little bit different, okay? He went the baseball route and came back.
I don't care. I don't care.
Different.
Don't care. 27 years old, won me a natty. Should have won 3 in a row. Shut the fuck up.
A little bit different.
No. I don't care.
27's too old.
No. He had eligibility, man. I don't care. All right, we have Oregon State, the best team in the state of Oregon. They beat Stanford 62-17. What did your boy do, Luke? What did he do?
I don't know. I was too busy watching the Oregon Ducks be awesome to really
watching
know.
The second best team in the state of Oregon.
Just keep saying that. Just keep saying it. I got receipts all over the place.
Okay, all right. 62-17. Oregon State's 8-2, 5-2 in the conference. Respectable season for Oregon State. I'm not mad at it. They have Washington next week though, so that could be come down week.
Who do you think's favored in that game?
I mean, I would assume Washington is.
It's at Oregon State.
Yeah, I would still say Washington's a favorite, probably by what, 7.5?
It's Oregon State minus 2.5.
Get the fuck out of here.
Oregon State minus 2.5 at home.
Okay.
And this is bullshit. They should be ahead of Louisville.
Yeah, and Louisville.
Oh my God.
Louisville beat Virginia, a very bad Virginia team, 31-24
Their schedule
this week.
sucks.
That's pretty bad, yeah. They have Miami this week, so hopefully they get a W there.
They'll get a W, I think.
I think if they get a W, they clinch the other spot in the ACC title game.
Here's, unless they might have already. There's 2 more games left. Who else is close?
Let's go see. Let's go. Give me a second.
I mean,
ACC.
while you're saying that, though, I mean, yeah, I just don't think that this team, the only reason why they're up there is because everybody wants to see, like, okay, it's a 1-loss team. We're not going to put the 2-loss teams ahead of them. That seems to be a very common theme across all the polls and rankings is they don't want to have so, and that's why. And like I said, they got Miami this week. I think they'll handle Miami fine. I think Miami played Florida State tough because it's a huge rivalry game.
It's a rivalry game.
And
like
Mario's good for one game a year like that where he's going to have his boys ready to play, even in the years where his teams suck. So, I mean, I don't see him and Louisville coming back. I don't see them coming back and having that success against Louisville. So,
no, they have to go back to Tyler Van Dyke at quarterback because Emory broke his arm.
Okay.
On a dive to get a first down. So it was bad. It was bad. Yeah. So I think Louisville wins and they're in is what I'm reading.
Okay. So that's where we're at. Yep.
All right. What do we got next, Luke? We have the Alabama Crimson Tide.
At what number?
What are we at? Sorry. I'm just looking for checking to see if the college football ranker is out yet. But no, we have Alabama.
I got it on the TV right next to me here. So
we have Alabama at 8. Alabama's at 8 at 9-1. I think that's a respectable ranking for Bama.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if anything has changed from last week to this week for the playoff rankings. Will they move ahead of Texas despite the fact that Texas beat them head to head?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Alabama, they played Kentucky this week, 49-21 win. Milroe, 234, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Milroe is looking like he's ready to get an invite to New York City for the Heisman Trophy.
He might.
Alabama is playing significantly better football than they did at the beginning of the season. Texas is not playing better football than they did in the beginning of the season. So based off of that alone, I want the better team right now. This is the time of the year where you're like, who's better right now? I would put Alabama ahead of Texas right now.
Speak of the devil, right? Texas snuck out a win against Texas Christian, 29-26. Also, some interesting announcements coming out of Austin today. Luke, what were those announcements?
So it's interesting because it hasn't been confirmed yet by anybody, but On3 has been putting out some interesting tweets today with breaking news that has not been officially announced. I'll wait for the official word, but Quinn Ewers announced that he is staying. Well, it didn't get announced. On3 tweeted it.
On3 tweeted it. So what kind of ramifications does that have if Quinn stays, Luke?
Well, either Malik Murphy or Arch Manning, I would think between the two of them, one of them is going to transfer.
So where do you see Arch Manning playing next year? Don't fucking say Oregon, Luke, because you know goddamn well he's a kid from the South.
I mean, let's see how everything plays out. It depends. There's some other options that could be available that would make more sense for Oregon than Arch Manning.
like
There's-
Arch Manning is going to have, it's going to be whittled down to 2 schools, right? And I think it's going to be Ole Miss.
Could be.
And I think it's going to be Tennessee. I think those are going to be the two teams just based on his family history. Like his grandfather, his uncle, both played at Ole Miss. His other uncle played at Tennessee. But my guess, if I was a betting man, I would say Ole Miss.
I mean, the NIL money isn't an issue for Arch, but they will still make that.
Not.
I mean, I don't know. I got to look into that one a little bit more, but I think Arch is the one that's more likely to transfer, but I could be wrong. Hudson Card transferred last year to Purdue, and that one was not. I didn't expect that one at all. You know, maybe Arch says, "Fuck it, I'm going to Notre Dame." You know, he's trying to go that route. I don't know. Like anything's on the table with the Manning family. They've got a lot of connections. Maybe Arch goes to, he goes to Duke in the ACC. You know, if Mike Elko stays there, maybe he goes to Texas A&M, depending on who Texas A&M hires as their next head coach. You know, like what if Texas A&M pays Lane Kiffin, and now Lane Kiffin is at Texas A&M, and they get Arch Manning to go there? I mean,
maybe
it's wide open.
Maybe, but it's going to be Deion Sanders in College Station.
I have thoughts. I did a little bit more digging on that. I have a lot. I got all the candidates for all the spots.
I don't know if Deion's going anywhere this year, but Deion will. His permanent home is not in Boulder. All right, let's get into this next team. Jesus Christ, have we talked about them enough?
We have talked about them enough.
Take it away.
Give me a recap. How awesome is Bo Nix throwing for over 400 yards against USC? Troy Franklin, Bo's little brother, Tez Johnson, with 2 big touchdown runs, touchdown receptions in the first quarter. It felt good to take it to USC. That was fucking awesome. Bo belongs in New York. The rest of the team, the offensive line has been playing at one of the highest levels there. I mean, they're one of 3 teams that have like top, I think, 10 in offensive efficiency as well as defensive efficiency in the country. You know who the other 2 are?
Let's hear it, Luke.
Georgia and Michigan. You know, I mean, yards per play, average yards per play. Who's number 1 in the country? Oregon. Like they belong in the playoff as long as they get through it. Okay, so we have breaking news. We've got our top 10. Louisville is at 10. Missouri is ahead of them at 9.
Okay.
So Missouri will be at number 9, up 5 spots from last week.
Okay, Missouri makes a big jump.
So
keep any more breaking news, just keep it breaking. We're going to move on to the number 5 team in the country.
All right.
Washington Huskies.
They do not belong at 5. They should be higher. I've already said that. I still believe that. Alabama is at 8. Alabama stays at 8.
Okay.
So that's my thoughts. I mean, this game this weekend will say a lot, but they've gone through the thick of it in their schedule, and then they got a big one this weekend. Okay, Texas is at 7, so that means Oregon will remain at 6. I would think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think Washington belongs. They're the best team right now in the best conference in the country. That's what I feel, and that's where I think they belong. That's why they belong in the top 4.
Sure.
For now.
Whatever you say.
I mean, Oregon, if you look at the body of work that Oregon, did they lose to Washington? Yes. Who's playing better football right now? Oregon. You can make it a very, very easy case that Oregon belongs in the playoff with 1 loss right now.
No, not over 4 undefeated teams.
Who's playing better football? I would put Alabama ahead of Texas.
When Michigan or Ohio State loses, whoever it is, then we could talk about that. But until then, no, I'm sorry. So yeah, the 35-28 win over Utah. Let's get into our top 4. Florida State Seminoles. This was rivalry week for me. I fucking love this team. Every journey is different. This is not like the 2013 national championship team where we beat the fucking brakes off of everybody. We learned how to get W's. We grit out like good wins. Jordan Travis, like I said, my game ball of the week. I absolutely love this man and what he did for this program. 19 for 31, 265 yards with 1 touchdown. Miami's going to bring it. Miami's going to bring it when you play Florida State, right? Jordan Travis on the season. Let's see. What do we got, Jordan Travis? Right now, 2,800 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 155 QBR rating. I don't know if he'll play at the next level. I don't know what's going to happen with him, but I love this man, and I'm eternally grateful for him. Mike Norvell pretty much flat out denied the rumors about any potential job openings, and the rumors that I'm hearing are that there is going to be a long-term extension happening probably any time now with Mike Norvell. He's not going anywhere. Things are bright in Tallahassee, and we have North Alabama this week in our cupcake game before we go into the battle for the Governor's Cup against the Gators on Thanksgiving weekend. I have to work both fucking days on the weekend of the battle for the Governor's Cup. So I'm a little bit crushed, but just assuming that we beat North Alabama, which we will, and we win out and we beat, whoever we play in the ACC championship, I cannot see a committee keeping these guys out of the playoff.
They're going to go undefeated, and I mean, there's not going to be anybody that can give them a challenge in the ACC championship game. No. They'll be in the playoff.
Yeah,
you're the ACC champion,
and it means I'm going to get sentimental here for a minute, because this program has gone through hell, right? Mm-hmm. I've talked about Willie Taggart at length and how backwards this program went under him. And Mike Norvell came in, and then COVID hit, and he couldn't coach in person. And, the loss to Jacksonville State. And now we've won, 16 games in a row. This is a fun team for me. It's a different journey, but I'm super happy to be where we're at, right? I got to experience Tallahassee live this year, and it was awesome. What do you got? You got breaking news, Luke?
So Georgia is now back where they belong at number 1. Ohio State is 2. 3 is Michigan. 4 is Florida State. Washington is 5. Oregon is 6.
So Let's go.
Everything remains the same from last week to this week, except that Georgia is back up at number 1, which makes a lot of sense. Again, Ohio State, Cupcake City, man.
They valued that Notre Dame win, which doesn't look as great as it did before, but it is what it is.
The Penn State win doesn't look as good as it did before. I didn't see Penn State in the top 10 there. I don't think I listed. The Penn State win doesn't look that strong either. And Georgia's schedule, they just beat who last week? Was that no? They beat Mizzou, and then who did they? And they beat. Who did they play this week? I'm already drawing a blank. But their schedule has gotten stronger, while Ohio State's win against Notre Dame and their win against Penn State do not look as strong.
And their 38-3 pouncing of a shitty Michigan State team does not help the cause, because Michigan State sucks. They have Minnesota this week, and then Thanksgiving weekend in the Big House against Michigan. So go Bucks.
I'm just looking at the rankings again. Mizzou at 9, moving up 5 spots, says a lot. Being a 8-2, a 2-loss team ahead of 1-loss Louisville. They did what I did not expect them to do there. Some other teams, Oregon moved up to 11, so they moved up 1, and Penn State moved all the way down to 12. So they made that. I think that was the right call. Ole Miss dropped to 13. That was who Georgia played, Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, yeah.
And then you got Oklahoma 14, LSU 15, Iowa. This is fucked up. Okay, Iowa is at 16. And Arizona is behind Iowa at 17. That needs to be fixed.
Okay.
Tennessee's 18. Notre Dame on the bye week moved up to 19. North Carolina is at 20 with their 8-2 record. So, I mean, they're still in the mix for the ACC championship game if Louisville loses somewhere down the road, I believe. Then you got Kansas State 21, Utah 22, Oklahoma State drafts to 23, Tulane 24, and then Kansas drafts to 25 with that loss to Texas Tech, which we didn't mention Kansas in the AP polls. I don't think they received votes.
They're not in the AP poll.
That Texas Tech win against Kansas does also help Oregon's record after having that win against them earlier in the year on the road at Texas Tech. They're now 5-5.
Yeah.
And if they continue to win these next two games, and let's say they end at 6-6 or 7-5, being 500 or 2 games above 500 would be very, very helpful to Oregon's resume. I mean, it's not like a huge bump, but it does help having a winning record as opposed to a losing record. So that was a huge win for Texas Tech and for Oregon.
Let's get into Michigan. Michigan, we talked about 24-15 win over Penn State. And then let's talk about Georgia, our last team ranked number 1 in the AP poll and in the college football playoff. Brock Bowers is back. Carson Beck is doing its thing. Like, they beat Ole Miss 52-17. They have Tennessee this week. This is still the team to beat, man. This is going to be 1-4. Like, if Florida State's got to play these guys, it's going to be ugly.
I really hope that it's Georgia. Man, I don't know. Like, I'm just doing a scenario here where, like, in my brain, Oregon jumps Washington after winning the Pac-12 if they win out. Man, I don't know if I would rather have Oregon play Georgia or go to the other side of the bracket and play Michigan.
Well,
because they're not going to be 2. I don't see them as 2. I mean, the committee could put Oregon up to 2. I don't see it happening.
So if it plays out the way you play it out, like, it'll be Georgia, Oregon, Florida State, Michigan.
Correct.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I mean, Oregon could be as high as 2 if they look at their full body of work. I don't care what seed they are in if they make the playoff. I just pick your poison, because if they're a 3 or a 4, you're playing Georgia or Michigan.
Let's let them get into the playoff. Let's let them get into the top 4 first, Luke. All right, let's get into Heisman watch. I think we've already covered this enough, Luke. Like, it's Jaden Daniels.
Yep.
It's Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix. I still think Jordan Travis gets an invite. And Milroe, maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. as a non-quarterback.
I would go Marvin Jr. and then probably Milroe as the number 5.
I think it's Jaden Daniels Heisman to lose.
It depends on who you talk to. According to Vegas, it is Bo Nix's Heisman to lose currently based off the odds.
Not going to be Bo Nix.
If you look, why wouldn't it be Bo Nix?
Not going to be like, Luke. I love you, Luke. I love you. You're a fucking great guy. You have you have blinders on right now.
How? Explain how. Tell me how.
I understand the Vegas odds, but I'm telling you, it's not going to be Bo Nix. It's
Why
not going to be.
What has he done to not earn the Heisman?
It's just not sexy enough.
Oh, give me a fucking break. It's not like, dude, he's putting up Marcus Mariota type numbers when Marcus was at Oregon. That's huge. How many interceptions has Bo thrown all year? 2.
How many? 2.
2.
2.
Like, come on. Like, 2. He just threw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns.
How many interceptions?
And he's potentially the best team in the country when it's all said and done. And I mean, look at where you're at here.
Luke. You're in timeout. You're in timeout for potentially the best team in the country. You're in timeout. It's 30-second timeout. There's no super chats. You're getting a 30-second timeout. Are you ready to come back and talk like an adult? There you go. I brought you back.
You can't tell me that Bo doesn't deserve to win the Heisman.
No, that's fine. And talk about Bo all you want, but don't say the fucking potentially the best team in the country.
If they make the playoffs.
Jesus Christ, Luke.
If they make the playoffs, anything can happen.
All right, let's get to the games of the week before we fucking get into a real fight. We don't have a lot this week. I have Utah, Arizona, Pac-12 matchup, 2 top 25 teams. I have Georgia, Tennessee. Should be a decent game. Georgia's probably going to blow them out. And I have Kansas State. That's what I got. That's what I got. That's a rivalry game. Looking at the schedule, that's what we got.
You missed one big one.
Which one?
The one we already talked about, so we don't have to go back to it. Washington and Oregon State.
Okay.
That one, especially if Oregon State is favored, 2.5 point favorites right now. That tells you that a lot of people are seeing some flaws in Washington's game, and they're seeing that Oregon State is probably better than we think.
All right. That wraps
mean-
up our top 25, Luke, but I want you to talk about coaching carousel and what you think is going to happen.
All right, so let's start at the big one at Texas A&M.
Yep.
I'll share Dan Lanning's quotes first because, God, I love that man so much right now with what he came out and said last night. I'm sure you heard it or you saw it. I'm just going to read not his entire quote, but a good chunk of it here. Basically telling everybody Oregon really is his home. Like he said, I think I've been really, really clear here since day one. Everything I want exists right here. I'm not going anywhere. There's zero chance that I would be coaching somewhere else. I've got unfinished business here. There's a lot I want to accomplish here at Oregon. My number one priority is being elite here at Oregon. We have the resources, the tools. Anybody that can't understand why you would want to be here at this place doesn't exactly understand what exists here. I'll continue to say it until I'm blue in the face. I want to be here at Oregon. That hasn't changed. That won't change. He goes on to talk about how his family is growing up there and his wife and 3 kids are in a house there. He's not going anywhere for a while. He shot that down adamantly. He will not leave for Texas A&M. Why would you leave for Texas A&M over Oregon? That is not the better job of the 2 options anyways. And his contract, 1 is a $20 million buyout. 2, he has escalators in his contract for 10 wins, 11 wins, 12 wins, making a playoff, making a national championship, winning a conference title. He's going to get more raises this year on top of his already $7 million that he's making this year. He's not leaving for money. He's leaving for, if he goes anywhere ever, he would leave for something that is truly, genuinely a better job. Texas A&M is not a better job, okay? So Coach Lanning is out. At all rumors, squash those across the board. So you don't bring up Dan Lanning's name anywhere and at any time. If you see it, it's trolls being idiotic that have no clue what they're talking about.
Okay.
That was kind of what was suspected before these Texas A&M rumors. Oregon gave him a big pay raise preseason for a reason because they want him there for a long time. That's why he got the job in the first place. They wanted somebody that's there committed. Then we'll go to Kalen DeBoer, who's been asked the same question. This is interesting. He's a hot candidate. His response when asked about the Texas A&M job or any other job, he wrote, it was a short answer, was yes, but he added, Troy Dannon, the Washington AD, is trying to do everything he can to help myself and the staff continue the journey that we're on. That doesn't seem very confident. That doesn't sound very adamant about, I'm going to stay here. I'm committed. You compare that and what Coach Lanning said, that sounds like a guy that's going to be on the go there.
Okay.
Then here's another interesting one. I didn't think about this until I saw this pop up today. It would be hilarious, and it actually is a possibility due to the timing of how things aren't going so well at his current job. Dabo said, I'm just focused on this job. Always have been. Just trying to beat North Carolina. It must be November. That's all I can say. Doesn't exude a lot of confidence if you're a fan of those teams to say.
I can't imagine Dabo going to Texas
A&M. To go to the SEC for more money, I would not put it past him.
I think Dabo is a guy that's done. Not that he wouldn't take more money because he's a fucking slime ball, right? But I think this game, if I'm being honest, has passed up Dabo Swinney.
Yeah, because he hates recruiting and he hates the transfer portal.
And he hates the NIL. He hates the NIL. Like he's flat out said it before. He's like, when we start paying players, I'm out. Well, I'm sorry, buddy. That's why your team fucking sucks this year. Because your team doesn't know how to fucking pay NIL. You don't know how to run the portal. I think Dabo's done. Luke, let's talk real quickly about Mike Elko, because I know you have some thoughts, but I want to make sure we keep this episode under an hour 20.
Okay, let's go.
Give me what you got on Mike Elko.
Elko has Texas A&M ties. He was a former coordinator there. It is a pay raise. It's a better job. He's going from the ACC to the SEC. Has the Texas A&M connection. He probably could have a handle on having a good defense at Texas A&M, and he could recruit and develop and have the right guys in place to develop a quarterback, which Texas A&M needs somebody that could develop a quarterback, and Mike Elko has a coaching staff in place that knows how to develop a quarterback. He had comments very similar to Dan Lanning about staying at Duke, but Duke is not a better job than Texas A&M, and money will talk, and I think he's probably the favorite. The other guy I have listed down that I think is very, very, very realistic, and it's not the sexy hire of the Power 5 schools, but Jeff Traylor at UTSA, being the Texas guy, and he's had a lot of success there. He's had a very good offense. He could recruit. He could develop. Could be who Texas A&M ends up going with, because I think a lot of these other guys might see that, well, maybe my job that I'm at right now is better, and it's not worth the money and the headache and the mess, and they could continue to prove and establish and maybe get a better job if they ever want to somewhere else. We talked Caleb DeBoer. We talked Mike Norvell. Coach Prime, he was like, I just want to win this week. Didn't really convince me that he wouldn't go to Texas A&M.
He would leave in a heartbeat, because he would. Which is why, like, Luke, you're not going to want to hear this, but which is why if Texas A&M throws the bag at Dan Lanning, he's going to take it, man.
Did you not?
I listened to everything you said, Luke.
But
you're a homer. You're a homer. I'm a homer.
0% chance means 0% chance. Don't listen to me say it. Watch Dan Lanning's video and then tell me that guy is not.
Come on, man. These coaches say whatever they want to the press. If someone throws a fucking bag at him, he's gonna leave.
Okay,
just
and
like
you know
Norvell,
who else? Yeah,
just like Norvell would fucking leave.
Dan Lanning is not leaving for Texas A&M because it's not a better job. Why would you leave at Oregon in a situation you're at when you're moving to the Big Ten? You've got the potential to win the Pac-12 currently. You got the potential to win next year moving forward. I mean, like,
take off the fucking homer hat.
Watch his video. Watch his video.
Luke, guys say shit all the time. They say things all the time. Oh, it's different. It's different. Luke, are you happy in your job? Do you like your job?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Do you want $1 million to fucking go coach track at fucking Hinsdale Central?
You can't compare those two.
You can absolutely do that. If I offered you fucking millions and millions of dollars more to go to a different job, you can do that. You can compare those two.
He's not leaving Oregon for money at Texas A&M. You're not, like, look at the quotes. Look at the difference between what Kalen DeBoer says and between what Dan Lanning says. They're 1,000% different.
Some people just know how to talk to the media differently. Man, he's telling the Oregon beat reporters what they want to hear until that fucking bag is thrown them. Oh. Yes, Yumper, I would. I absolutely would. If they threw the bag at me, I'm leaving. I'm going.
It's not about, but not everybody is wired that way. And I'm telling you, Coach Lanning is not wired to just take money.
You're such a fucking homer. No, it's ridiculous.
He's not leaving Oregon for a job unless he knows it's a better job and a better opportunity for his family, for his kids, and for his future. Going to Texas A&M, he sees is not the right answer.
So what was Mario Cristobal's fucking motive for leaving Oregon to go to Miami, who's a shitty fucking program?
That's his dream job.
It's a shitty program. The resources in Eugene are better than they are in South Florida.
He didn't think that way. Dan Lanning thinks differently than what Mario and Willie Taggart thought.
Luke, I can't.
This is why Dan Lanning got hired at Oregon, because when he interviewed, he knew what he was saying and he meant what he was saying. He's an Oregon guy. He's staying there. If he leaves, the only time he leaves is if it's for like a Georgia or if it's for an Alabama. He's not fucking leaving for anything else. He's not leaving for Texas A&M. You guys don't watch enough Oregon football. You have no fucking clue. Watch the video. Watch what people are saying. Read the
Jimbo report. Fisher said the same thing about fucking Tallahassee.
It's not.
And then his Christmas tree was out on the fucking curb the next day to go to College Station.
Look at what has happened to all of these coaches that have left for money. How have their careers gone? Do you think that Dan Lanning doesn't see the career?
You think Dan Lanning gives a fuck about fucking his career when he makes fucking a buyout that's $162 million?
He does care about his career and the success of his career over the money, because he knows if he goes to Texas A&M, it's not the spot for him.
You know what, Luke?
Where's he going to finish in the Big Ten next year?
You're absolutely right.
Tell me where do you think Oregon will
Shohei
play?
Ohtani is going to fucking sign with the White Sox because they
can't-
fucking care more.
This
They
is
care
college
more.
football. It's different.
They care more.
Where's Oregon going to finish in the Big Ten next year? Probably in the top 3. Where would Texas A&M finish in the SEC next year? Not in the top 3. Look at the difference. Look at what Coach Lanning said compared to the other guys. The other guys beat around the bush. Coach Lanning, if you watch the entire video, you can see the difference.
So he's fucking happy. He's better at playing the media than the other guys. That's all it is, Luke. I'm sorry, man. That's all it is. We're never going to agree on this.
You're so fucking wrong. You are so fucking wrong. You're so wrong on this.
They're going to
fucking.
fucking.
Don't talk bad about my coach. That's my coach.
They're
going to
say
anything bad about Mike Norvell.
I'm not. Dude, Luke, it's a fucking business.
Don't talk about my coach like that.
It's a business.
Don't
Luke.
talk about my coach like that. He's not leaving. He's not leaving for a shitty ass Texas A&M job.
Dan Lanning and College Station next year.
I will bet you $1,000 right now he does not fucking leave. I will Venmo you $1,000. $1,000 if Dan Lanning leaves for Texas A&M. $1,000. $1,000.
Oh my God! What kind of buyout?
I will give you $1,000.
What kind of buyout do you think they'll give him? 120 mil, 130?
It costs $20 million to take Dan Lanning away, and then you got to pay him on top of that.
You don't think that fucking Texas A&M can pay that?
$1,000. I will give you $1,000.
All right. I think that's going to wrap us up for tonight. That's Eugene to Tallahassee, week 11. Luke, thanks for sharing your trip to Eugene. I'm glad you had a good time in Dan Lanning's final year in Eugene.
$1,000.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week. We don't know what day yet, but we would like to do it Tuesday. I got to look at my schedule, though.
I'm good either day. Wait,
Luke,
no.
Luke, I still love you.
$1,000.
All right, guys. Have a good night.